Welcome to the Finisher, a podcast about professional wrestling and all things, well, wrestling. Here are your hosts, Jerry Pickering and Dan Nawrocki. Welcome to another Finisher podcast, all about professional wrestling. You can find us at thefinisherpodcast.com. You want to find out where you can watch this if you're not already here, facebook.com/thefinisherpodcast. Dan, how are you today?
You know what? It is a great day. I will steal the Ferguson line. It's a great day for America.
America.
Let me tell you something. Hockey is back. Great day. Great day.
Thank God there's some kind of sports. I know you already said we're not going to have football, but oh, God dang it.
Probably not, as we're about to lose. It looks like we're about to lose baseball.
Yeah.
Because basketball and hockey showed the bubble is working relatively well for them. And baseball and football said, nope, we ain't doing that.
Oh, so sad. So sad. Let's see. All right. Welcome to the podcast. We got a few things that happened this week. Oh, turn my phone off.
Yeah, when I started making the sheet, my brain went, it's kind of been an uneventful week. It's we're kind of in a dead period right now. And then I look at everything happen, like, oh wait, no, I'm an idiot. A lot of stuff happened this week.
All right, sorry, computer here. All right.
And of all things to start covering with, that actually really was the big story of the week was an investor call of all things.
So what happened with that?
Well, it was the WWE had their second quarter earnings conference call for stockholders. Obviously, Vince doesn't do interviews with dirt sheets or websites, so this is the only time you're going to hear from the chairman about exactly what's going on, about the things like that. And honestly, the interesting thing enough was that somebody, when opened up for questions, asked about the ratings. Like, hey, your ratings are in the tank, which means your revenue is soon going to be in the tank. What are you going to do?
What you going to do, Vince? What you going to do when those ratings fall all over you?
Interestingly enough, he says the audience is integral to the ratings. Well, thanks for explaining how all of media works. But he says, and this is what shocked me to a certain extent, was that Vince McMahon says they need new and better characters and more compelling storylines. So for Vince to say we need new people when we're pretty sure that all the new people that were getting a push are no longer getting a push or have been just kind of put off to the side because of Vince taking control back. Now he realizes that we need new things. I'm going to be honest with you.
This is an idiot.
He's
a genius, but he's an idiotic genius.
Has never been able to see past the end of it, that far past the end of his shadow, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm surprised he hasn't gone on his knees begging John Cena to come back and do things on SmackDown.
I'm surprised that Cena's not back for something.
Of all the people that they have tried to bring back to see, we haven't seen Hogan, we haven't seen Cena, we haven't seen The Rock either. And I'm surprised he hasn't tried to call in all the favorites to bring some of them back to hotshot ratings. But it was just interesting that part was interesting to hear him say, well, look, we need to do better in this and this. And hopefully that means that's going to be doing something to the creative team, whether it's going to be taking responsibilities off of Bruce Pritchard so he only has one show to worry about, or letting new ideas become a thing. But I thought that was the thing that stuck out to me that I thought was really relatively interesting. He also said he doubts there's going to be another event in Saudi Arabia this year.
Wow. Wonder why.
Right. Their economy's in the tank, obviously. Between the pandemic, which led to the crash of the oil market because fuel wasn't as necessary when people aren't moving around as much.
Yes, I paid 99 cents a gallon that one week, and it was amazing.
Right. I mean, even now, paying under $2 is amazing. I never thought I'd say that.
I spent 20 some bucks and filled up my gas cans and my truck. Now, just think about my truck. I filled it up before and paid over $100 to fill it up because America.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a point. It's gone already.
Sorry, I ruined it.
No, I was trying to listen and read at the same time, and I should know better than to ask my brain to do two things.
So you're talking about try to make it easier on was it Pritchard running two shows? So he wouldn't do that if he wouldn't have fired Paul Heyman.
If he wouldn't have fired Paul Heyman, he wouldn't have to worry about that. And for as much guff as we gave the program for things that they weren't doing, you have to say, at least for Heyman, he was pushing new stars. He was trying to give as many people as he could something to do and get as many people as he could on television so that they would be exposed to a larger audience. So for that is what that is.
I mean, they're going to need more stars. I mean, they're wanting to add another pay-per-view a week after SummerSlam. What the hell is the point of that?
Right, that didn't make any sense to me whatsoever when I saw that report yesterday as well. I mean, the first and foremost, what are you doing trying to do a big show after a kind of big show after the biggest show of the quarter? Like, how or what are you accomplishing by that? Unfortunately, what would make sense if you're going to do something like that so close to a major show like that is not what they're going to do, because it's not going to be an Evolution show. The report is that it will be Payback.
They're bringing that back?
They'll bring that back. And again, 1 week after. So at best, you have a show full of SummerSlam rematches, because what do you have time to do to build up in 1 week across a program each?
Then do this one. They do this back in the year, and it was like a Cyber Monday or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a pay-per-view where the universe voted for what match and stipulation they wanted to have.
I had actually read something about this. Initially, the first couple of times they did it, yes, the universe fans did, in fact, it was 2004. We were fans still in 2004.
Yes.
That fans did, in fact, vote, which is why things kind of got a little screwed up when it came to the main event and the World Heavyweight title coming out of that and such. And then kind of later on down the line, they put their thumbs on the scale, so it was a little easier to have the show planned out completely, as opposed to needing to have X number of ideas just in case this goes, or this goes, or this goes.
But I mean, you just got to think, if people feel like they have a say in something.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's just like voting. We feel like we have a say. But if you feel like you have a say, it'd be like kind of cool, like, oh, I picked that. Now they're doing that. That's awesome.
Right.
Do something like that. Everyone's sitting at home, Damn it, drop it. Just
may as well
prep it out, have it going even before SummerSlam, saying, hey, after SummerSlam, we're going to do a cyber, the fuck's going on in this country pay-per-view. And just I don't know, I can't think of nothing. And make it where we can vote on what we want to see. Do you want to see,
you do another, you could do another Cyber Sunday, and there's multiple ways you could have that. You lay that out on Monday night. You have an entire week's worth of time to collect votes.
Wasn't there another Taboo Tuesday or something?
Well, it was originally Taboo Tuesday because they were kind of testing the waters of a secondary pay-per-view night.
Okay.
And then gave up on that, moved it to Sunday, and actually Cyber Sunday flowed a lot better.
Yeah.
Taboo Tuesday sounded like it belonged on RedTube. That's all that was. So that would make sense. That would be something that would make sense. Or if you were to do an event that was, say, Raw versus NXT, that would make sense.
Yeah.
An Evolution show would make sense because it doesn't like something that doesn't need much build to bring attention to the things that you're going to put on the card, but just another show. What like it's and interestingly enough, the other thing that I thought was interesting because it's very WWE to do this. The plan is to do that on the consecutive Sunday, not the consecutive Saturday, and counter program All Out, which is that September the 5th.
Oh.
Remember the last time they did All Out, the network counter programmed with a live Evolve card.
Yeah.
Head to head with the AEW show. So,
Evolve 131.
Yeah, that one. So interesting they didn't try to counter program, but again probably for the better. At least you could take in both shows in the whole over the weekend, I guess.
I can see that.
But the way things have been going since they have gone out of their way to counter program Dynamite for the better part of a month, I'm kind of surprised they didn't go that route. And again, nothing's official, so there may still be time.
There could be. I mean, they have their plans, you know. They would be allowed the way they want to do something, and then last second change it.
That happens a lot. That happens a lot. That happened, I believe, this past Monday night.
Exactly. Wait, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually thought you were once again doing a transition to the very next thing.
Oh yeah, Sasha Banks.
Goddamn sheet. Yes.
All right, well, I wasn't sure. I didn't get to watch this Monday, so I don't even know what happened. But Sasha Banks winning the title, that wasn't what was supposed to happen. That wasn't their original plan.
Initially, no.
At Extreme Rules Horror Show Dumbass Pay-Per-View.
I apparently the plan to go into SummerSlam was going to be Asuka defending against Shayna Baszler.
Yes.
And then for whatever reason they decided to take a pass on that, and that whatever that was is whatever the finish of that match was at Extreme Rules was the best they came up with. And then we get to Raw, and I proved to be correct when it comes to booking, which is the direction they should have gone anyway. And then you have to. And now where do you try to bring Shayna Baszler in for a 2.5 week build up now?
Who knows?
What do you do on SmackDown? Because you essentially now are working, as of last night, or they're working to split up the only other consistent competitors on SmackDown against Bayley and Sasha. So you fixed maybe one problem and created like 9 others by not having things planned out beyond 4 months ahead of time. And I understand this is very difficult to do in a time of pandemic.
Yeah, very.
But it's much easier to shift a plan when there is something in place for A, B, C, D, and E. It's much easier to find your way to E if you have A through D than if you have A, B, and E, and you'll figure C, D, and C and D out the way to go the rest of the way throughout.
I mean, I don't know how they fill all the time when they have to keep changing their mind on what they want to do.
Well, that's the problem.
3 hours on Raw, 2 hours on SmackDown, 2 hours on NXT.
Not to mention they still have the syndicated. Contributions. They say they still have syndicated requirements so they're still having to tape main event because that's the syndicated wing of that still. Which again, and I guess 205 Live is still a thing, but you can get by with 2 matches and be good there. So I mean, there's a lot of programming that one has to put together, it would behoove them to have one giant flow chart or something like that.
Yeah.
To have plans in place for longer than a week or two in advance. It's what helped kill WCW on a week-to-week basis, because you went through an entire how many years where what played out on television, what you saw on Nitro may have only been formulated as an idea 10 minutes before it took air. There are tons of stories of the program being written and rewritten while it's on the air. As in, you lit off your fireworks at 7:55 with one main event planned for 9:55, and then you got to 9 o'clock and there was a different thing in place. That is, I mean, there is no way. That is the kind of planning you would expect here on the finisher, not on a major wrestling company that has a worldwide television audience.
I remember when they decided that they wanted to do 3 hours.
And everyone
thought it was stupid.
Right. Anyone who's looking at going, that's good. That's a problem. You're going to run out of stuff very quickly. It's very difficult to come up with 3 hours every single week. How much effort does it take you to come up with a 3-hour plus pay-per-view? And you only do that once a month.
So now we're going to be going through this same trying to figure out, because now AEW might add a third hour to Dynamite. So what's that going to be? Recap of what's happened in the first 2 hours and maybe a couple matches?
I mean, you say that, but they do 2 hours of television and already do a regular hour to hour and a half of dark every week, but that's on YouTube, which is kind of like, I'm okay with that because it's a different program. It's an old school type of wrestling show where you will get a 7-match card in an hour and a half, and it's 6 squash matches and then 1 feature. And I'm fine with that because it's not the only product you're presenting. If they were to go to 3 hours, I worry that you would find that too many squash matches would find their way onto their main program and start to devalue what you're doing a little bit. As it is right now, it feels like every episode of Dynamite is stacked because they know that with 2 hours, you have to have a certain amount. Like you have to. It feels like you're packing everything in. With 3 hours at a certain point, then you feel like you're stretching for content.
Gotcha. Yeah, true. I mean, 100%. And if they see about the next 4 to 6 weeks, they'll know more if it's something that's actually going to happen. I mean, they go ahead.
I would say, and if it does, it won't be till the end of. Honestly, I probably don't think TNT's not going to pull that trigger until the end of whatever form the NBA playoffs are in.
Yeah.
So at least until the conference finals, till that move is being made. And I have no idea if Dynamite may be moving at all to accommodate NBA coverage in the weeks ahead.
So you also think, I mean, hey, they keep getting, new stars here and there. They may have enough people to actually pull it off. I mean, let's just look at Matt Cardona.
Well, the interesting, yes, who debuted this past week, and who has a match already signed for.
Who looked jacked.
Right. Well, what else? What has he been doing? What for a certain length of time you cannot work.
Yeah.
You are barred from doing anything in your chosen industry. So what do? You work out and you lay out behind your pool.
And I think one of you or someone else said, and buys action figures.
And buys all the action figures. So, yeah, he looked great, and it'll be. The interesting bit is right now he is on a very limited deal. Is the
that contract surprises me.
Sort of. I'm surprised, but at the same time, maybe not. It might be an opportunity for both parties, both he and AEW, to kind of
a feel out period.
Feel out how they feel, what they feel they can do with him, what he feels he can do there, without having to commit to something like his compatriot Heath did with Impact.
Yes.
So, if things don't work out there in 3 months, he's right back to jobbing out night after night, and you're kind of stuck for the next 9 months or however long the contract rides up. If Matt Cardona gets his 5 appearances and decides, well, that maybe this isn't going to work. Like, this is fun, but maybe it's not going to work out. Call me, if we can work something out in the future and drop something in.
Yeah.
Drop some here and there, but.
He came in, like I said, he looked jacked beyond belief, and I was surprised to actually see him there. I figured he was going to be over in TNA, but
I was happy to see they did, based on his match last week, did sign Eddie Kingston to a contract. So the possibilities there are high. Honestly, like I said, I would love to personally.
Eddie Kingston signs with All Elite, which I don't really know who he is.
Well, that's the thing. Like, unless you were paying attention to East Coast Indies for most of the 2000s and or Impact over the year or two, you wouldn't have known. But
nobody watches Impact.
That's why I wonder why people continue to sign there. When you a company that needed those federal loans to survive the pandemic, to make payroll, now they're signing on all this talent. But that's, you know what, I could very well be wrong, and I don't have their numbers, their viewership. I could be completely off base
there. So yeah, he's signing back. Whatever, him signing with AEW is pretty good. Someone who's not going to be signing with anyone. There is no longer going to be a Rusev Days.
Yeah.
Which I forget what his actual
Miro.
Miro.
By Miro.
Miro. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I didn't open link because I knew it was a simple story. But since we're gonna go that, let me give a shot at pronouncing his actual given name.
Oh boy.
But and on top of that, so he's decided that right now it's best. His best opportunity to continue to be a gamer and a YouTuber and a Twitch streamer. Now that he's back on Twitch. Oh, Miroslav. Oh yeah. Okay, never mind. That was even a thing. For Miroslav. So yeah, after he got put into Twitch jail for his wife's boobs being on there.
What?
Oh yeah, no, he served a 2 or 3 day ban off Twitch because Lana dropped in wearing a bikini, and that's close. And Twitch has been cracking down on content of a suggestive and or sexual nature recently. This has been going on like all year.
Really?
Yeah, like so. If you're an avid watcher of Twitch and have any of your female gamers that you follow and wondered why they stopped wearing so many low-cut tops over the last 6 months, that's why Twitch has started serving out bans for sexual material.
Cool. He's got a YouTube channel as well. He's got 98.6 thousand subscribers. So
pretty good considering he's only been up a couple months.
Not bad. Not bad at all. It says, here's what the, well, this is the first video, whatever. Listen to this from the 29th. Miro fact. I used to work at a strip club and would take that money to buy games. What do you prefer to play? Video games? PC? Xbox? So he's doing all of them, I guess.
Why does that not surprise me that he was a bouncer at a strip club at some point in his life? Well, I mean, just look at the dude. If he told you to step back and keep your hands to yourself, would you tell him no?
Time to kiss my ass.
Yeah.
I ain't afraid.
See, strip club bouncers are on a whole different level than regular bar bouncers. Like, they can literally just snatch you up and you're gone, and physically, like, do the old Jazzy Jeff, eject you from the front of the house.
someone like so he's not coming back, but someone who we haven't seen in a while, and I hadn't thought about it is good old KO.
Yeah, he
KO kind of being a little absent from TV as of late.
well, they brought him in to do a kind of cold match with Murphy on the pre-show of Extreme Rules, and he hasn't been on television since, really, which makes no sense. But we got we got some semblance, some look into why that was this week, right?
That's what I was trying to read. I didn't get to
No,
watch.
okay,
I didn't get to
okay, or
watch
not.
any.
That's why I. It's the story's right there. There wasn't anything to watch. He was there. He was at the last set of Raw tapings, and I guess there's another this coming week. No idea whether they're going to bring him in, but they just decided not to use him in any of
So
the
I was
angles.
trying to read it here because I didn't get to watch any wrestling. I haven't had TV, so
I
I didn't
never
get to
have
watch
TV.
anything.
That's why I
Well,
send links.
I don't have YouTube, or I don't have YouTube. I don't have Hulu yet.
And it seems kind of it seems like a bit of a cop out. Like, oh, we didn't want to sacrifice him for any of these angles. Like, what do you mean sacrifice? Like, you're gonna to send him out there to have Murphy destroy him in the middle of the ring? That's not gonna happen. Um, are you gonna wrap him into the Rey Mysterio storyline and Seth Rollins storyline? Is he gonna be a bit of it? Do you just not have anything really that you want him as a part of right now? And if that's the case, don't bring him to TV.
Yeah, poor guy getting worked over and not being used. But hey, maybe he can be a lifeguard on the at SummerSlam because they're deciding that
Would be amazing. Just it never mention it, but you like he's visible on camera
just don't
as
say
like
anything.
lifeguard thing in the pool behind the ring, like, but never say anything. Like don't even hide it. Like have him in his shirt, in his normal KO shirt, with a whistle. As people are swimming in the pool behind him, as SummerSlam is happening on this. Oh yeah, that's one of the things. I guess I can get in the story, but and just never explain it, never mention it. It is exactly what it is. Just Kevin Owens is working as a lifeguard on a ship while the biggest party of the summer is happening in front of him, and just never explain it. It'd be amazing.
Because they want to put SummerSlam
On a boat.
on a boat.
Oh shit! Get your towels ready, it's about to go down!
I didn't know if I was going to continue, but if things go wrong, that's right. Continue, because they're looking for they don't want to. Obviously, the fallback is to do something on at the PC. They want to try
Yeah.
and not do that, which good luck, God bless. And
I think we're pretty much stuck at the PC probably for the rest of the year or even longer.
and more, they're trying to get a boat. They want to do SummerSlam with the flippy floppies.
Such a good song. I don't care.
And honestly, I'm surprised that Chris Jericho hasn't tweeted about this report.
Oh, he will.
Hey, that's cool. I've already been doing that for like 3 years, but that's cool. Thanks for taking another idea from me and AEW.
Eye for an eye, you know.
Eye for an eye, 2-night Fighter Fest and Generation Bash, tournament for tournament. I mean, it's going to be a thing now. I don't see how it. I don't know. Does that type of venue change really matter? Because how many people are like, if you get a cruise, let's say you get a cruise ship to agree to doing this, and they're going to take a cruise out into the bay or into the Gulf of Mexico, like a 2-night thing in and out, and they allow you to bring fans. It's like, how many people are they actually going to allow, and how much different is that going to be than the show that you're already doing now with a very small number of people in the PC?
Yeah, I don't see that it actually is anything that's gonna go or gonna happen.
Like,
I don't see it happening.
You have the novelty of being on a cruise ship or at sea. That's all that adds for you.
Yeah, I don't. But I still, like I said, I don't see that actually something that's gonna actually fall into play. I think it'll be
Yeah,
at the PC.
yeah, like logistically, I just don't know how, especially now, if you haven't set this up already.
You're
Uh,
waiting, for like the night before to put on Facebook, looking for a boat.
I mean, you've got to do something soon. You have what, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Just over 3 weeks beforehand, before that ship literally sails. I didn't plan to set that terrible joke up. It just worked out that way.
It worked out perfect. Hey, speaking of things that are terrible, good but terrible. Last Tuesday, we started our first finisher flashbacks. Finisher
Yes.
flashback, where we watched the AWA Team Challenge Series TV pilot from 1989 over on the network.
Yeah. Now you've had a couple of days. Now that you've had a couple of days to process, what was your honest opinion
That was
of?
god awful. That was god awful. You know what I call that? I call that 2020. It was a dumpster fire. Just like this year. That was god awful. The green screen entrance way with the fans on like super turbo warp speed Captain Zulu.
Oh my God.
The
Yeah.
cutaways to random people at some bar who, a kid walked in with his giant Betamax camera, said, "Hey, just smile and wave and cheer for me real quick." What the hell? I'm doing a school project. Some kid with a school project, recording some people at a bar. What the hell was that?
Well, what you can probably also understand why that was never more than just a pilot. Why that product never took off as a TV show at any point there.
I'm not
I
like
personally,
they had the two guys that were doing the hosting or whatever in the control room. Every time, I'm just gonna use my Gatorade bottle for this. They would cut to them. The camera would be right up close on them, and then
and then
pull
out.
back. I'm like, what's the point of that? I don't need that close of a view of the guy's mole on his cheek. I don't care. He should get it looked at, but I don't care.
My personal favorite was the before match promo from the Demolition Crew, who had the green screen, like they played a building imploding behind them, but Enos and Bloom walked on with sledgehammers and hit the building, and then it started to fall behind them.
They were strong.
That is the epitome of 80s green screen cheese right there.
So make sure you hang out with us on Tuesdays now at around 7 o'clock. I think it's going to be the usual go-to time, possibly
something like that for the time being. It'll
7:30.
Card is always subject to change. So
just like wrestling.
If you didn't get a chance to watch that and you have the WWE Network, this is up there. It's kind of hidden. You do have to do a little work to search for this.
You literally have to go and search AWA Team Challenge Series TV pilot.
Yep. So
search that, and it's all the way at the bottom under hidden gems.
But what you should do, especially since if you got some time tonight or tomorrow, is head over to our YouTube channel at the Finisher Podcast and go back, sync up. I try to give you as many time checks as I can think of in the middle, so you can follow along with exactly what we're watching. Sit down, give it a watch. It's an hour-long television thing, so I think we were probably on the air for just about an hour. And share the horror. And
we set you up at before we started. We give you a 5-second pause, and then when we start, tell you to play, you hit play, and we are all hooked together.
So that's the idea of the watch along. Now it's a little different. It will be a different and a longer watch along this Tuesday night. Yes. As we're moving on to. I think we wanted to get the maximum amount of bad out of the way to start with. Because a lot of the initial stuff that was on this list was bad. and we'll randomize it. I actually found something else on YouTube that I added to my list.
Oh no.
That shouldn't be bad. That should be like crash TV watching. So I actually found. I will add this to the list. I actually found I need to see some setup, but from 2004, a match involving Steve Corino, Dusty Rhodes,
Ooh.
Terry Funk,
Ooh.
and all I can see is there's barbed wire everywhere.
Nice.
So
make sure you are hanging out with us on Tuesday nights for this our new segment, Finisher Flashback. Dan's got a list of them, and what we're gonna do after this next one on Tuesday, we're gonna number them out, and I'll use a number generator on the internet, and I'll tell them numbers between 1 and 20.
I'll whatever there is,
and it'll pop something.
Pick it random. If anyone wants to suggest something, an event, a match, a YouTube clip, anything, shoot that over to us on the Facebook page, and we'll take a look at including it in the list. So while we have some time, I was shocked to your reaction when I said last week that the next thing we'll watch is a pay-per-view entitled Heroes of Wrestling. And you were kind of nonplussed about it. You do not have the normal reaction that most people who
I've never
know
seen it.
What and interesting enough, I myself have also never seen it front to back. I have seen highlights. I've read plenty about it. I know what's going to happen. I have just never seen it actually happen. And again, to Adam Blompeed at the time of Blood Culture, it's a card stuffed to the gills with awful.
All right.
So
as long as I can make fun of it like I did before,
that won't be a problem.
All right, I'm good.
So let's give a quick rundown. And again, remember that all of this is happening in October of 1999. Okay, which is why the interesting when you will see a tag match between Marty Jannetty and Tommy Rogers and the Samoan SWAT team.
So my freshman year of high school.
You will see George the Animal Steel take on Greg the Hammer Valentine.
All right.
You will see Two Cold Scorpio and some guy named Julio Fantastico.
Okay.
You will see the team formerly known as the Bushwhackers. Because remember, this is not the WWE, so they can't. That's not theirs. Take on the Iron Sheik and Nikita Koloff. Nikolai Volkov. How did I get that?
I was you started saying the name like, what?
Well, there's a. Never mind. I'll explain later. In a Horseman versus Midnight Express battle, Tully Blanchard faces off with Stan Lane.
Okay.
Abdullah the Butcher takes on the One Man Gang in 1999.
Which is different than the One Man Band, baby.
Very different. Dear God. Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. taking on Jimmy Snuka. And then we are expected to have a double main event, and I know that's misleading. So I will, as it was advertised, the Anvil Jim Neidhart takes on Jake the Snake Roberts.
Nice.
And in a Battle of the Behemoths, King Kong Bundy will take on the former WWF champion, the man formerly known as Yokozuna.
Okay.
That is our match rundown in October of 1999. There's a little foreboding of how I sold the double main event, obviously. And if you've seen anything on YouTube about this, you know that the card is going to change. But that is what it's going to be. And the difference is this is going to be a YouTube link. So everyone can, you don't need the network, you can do this. We'll make sure the link gets out ahead of time and is there ready to go up on Facebook. It's live. You're live on Facebook, but then soon to be on YouTube following its completion.
All right. Let's check that out. We'll make sure you come and check that out. I had a question. I'm looking at our little show sheet, and this little behind the scenes magic.
Yes.
Our upcoming prediction cards is TakeOver.
Yeah.
XXX.
They haven't done anything yet, but it's the 30th TakeOver, correct?
August 22nd and SummerSlam August 23rd. Now,
Correct.
Are we going to crown a champion for each one of those and could someone win? Like if you were to win on 22nd, you hold it for a day. If I were to win on 23rd, I get it back. Or are we
Awesome.
or do we want to take those two and combine them?
Those are 2 events. That's a double shot.
Okay. I want to see if you wanted to combine those.
Yeah.
All right, works for me. That's why I wanted to ask that. According to that, let's get in to our top 5. That work for you? I don't care. Let's do it. All right, our top 5 this week. Our top 5 is top 5 cage matches. Top 5 cage matches, and we were talking to someone earlier. Mr. Ben Frobos was wondering, is it just cage matches or is it a Hell in a Cell too? I think we just decided. I think it's just cage. I think we had a Hell in a Cell one.
Yeah, we did the Hell in a Cell before, and kind of played our stuff out there. So I didn't want to. I mean, I did not go in with thinking about Hell in a Cell at all.
Okay.
So there's that.
If I may, we're gonna have any that are overlap on this one.
Oh, well, probably not, but it's worth a shot. But I did write something to get into this if you'd like.
All right, well, go ahead.
And this I don't know why it felt like this. When 2 men cannot solve their differences in a normal physical contest, there is but one way to end a rivalry. They must subject themselves to wrestling's most brutal match and step inside the steel cage.
Dun, dun, dun.
No way in, no way out. One man must emerge victorious. It is a battleground of brutality, a vault of violence, a demonic structure that when you saw cage match on the marquee, you knew blood would be spilled and careers would be shortened. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to be the recent trend, but these matches we're going to talk about this afternoon are the epitome of the true spectacle that a steel cage match is.
And let's get right into it. Dan, what is your number 5?
See, they told me I couldn't write promos back in the day. What the hell was that? Number 5. I'm not breaking any rules here on this show by putting this one up here, so I will go right into it. Number 5 takes us back to Raw on June 11th, 2001 in a ridiculous cage match between Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. This match is physicality personified. Angle and Benoit beat the dog out of each other, keeping up a ridiculous pace for this entire 15 or so minute match. And it's probably remembered most for its 2 big spots that were replayed ad nauseum at the time. Kurt's missed moonsault from the top of the cage, and then Benoit's diving headbutt from the top of the structure. But this was a hell of a wrestling match from bell to bell.
I like it. The reason I like it...
Get out of here.
It's my number 5.
You're kidding.
Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit. This is the match remembered most for Kurt Angle attempting the moonsault off the top rope of the cage for the first time before eventually taking the victory. This is right here why we do this show. We are connected.
Apparently. We're just already there. That's amazing. Okay.
So that's my number 5 as well. Dan, who's your number 4?
Let me guarantee that this is not on your list.
Let's see.
Guarantee.
Guarantee.
I will guarantee.
Oh, before we get into that, real quick, I just seen ESPN shared. It was I forget what it was, 20 years or something. It's like today marks the anniversary of when Kurt Angle won his Olympic gold medal, and every comment on ESPN said you forgot or won it with a broken neck. You forgot the word frickin'.
Really? Because when I saw the SportsCenter reposted it with a broken freaking neck.
Did they? Okay, I didn't see that one, but they posted it with a broken neck, and every comment was
to the crowd, and finally reposted that with a broken freaking neck because he won a gold medal in Atlanta with a broken freaking neck. It's true.
It's damn true.
Damn true.
I just like how every comment on there was frickin', frickin', frickin'. You forgot frickin', frickin', frickin'. I'm like, all right, what the hell?
Got to.
Frickin'. Oh. All right, Dan, who's your number 4?
Number 4. I promised last week there would only be one War Games match on my list, and this is it. from WCW's Wrestle War 92 from back on May 17th, 1992, Sting's Squadron taking on the Dangerous Alliance, and probably in the best War Games of the matches run in WCW. The talent assembled in this one match is absolutely incredible. Sting, Barry Windham, Dustin Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, Nikita Koloff, actually Nikita Koloff this time, Steve Austin, some jobber, I don't know who that guy ended up being. Hope he did something after wrestling. Rick Rude, Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, Larry Zbyszko. The only reason Flair wasn't in it is because he was up north at the time, being champion. An absolute brutal affair, multiple storylines woven into it. I think this was the high water mark for War Games matches, period.
All right, I haven't seen that, but I'll have to watch it.
I knew that one wouldn't be on there.
I was gonna screw you and be like, my number 4 War Games, but no. My number 4 is 2 tag teams that in the early 2000s that I was a huge fan of. They're no longer together. One is with one company, one is with another. One is out injured, one is retired. That is Matt and Jeff Hardy versus Edge and Christian in a cage match at Unforgiven 2000. 2 teams who, if you've watched any of their ladder matches or the cage match or any of those, who are just put everything out on the line. Then just, am I going to die tonight? Probably. I don't care. Let's do it. And that's especially for Jeff Hardy. He doesn't give a crap. He'll climb the top of that Titantron and jump off, hoping, and he'll hit something soft.
I hope this goes right. Honestly, I actually started writing because I had one in the back of my head that I went back, waffled on, and putting on, and even decided not to make that an honorable mention. But the Hardys and the Dudleys from Survivor Series 2001, very similar, when they unified the tag titles.
Yep. So that's my number 4. What's your number 3, Dan? Number
3, another one where I can guarantee you, not on your list. You didn't consider it because we go to TNA Turning Point 2004 for America's Most Wanted versus Triple X. 6 sides of steel, by the way. Not that really, it's still a steel cage, whatever. Full of nonstop action, blood, brutality, and yes, that Elix Skipper spot that everyone remembers. This match's intensity was amped up because the losing tag team would be forced to disband. We got a Tower of Doom from the top of the cage with all 4 guys involved. Power bombs off the fence. The Tennessee Cowboy was handcuffed to the cage at one point, allowing a double team on the Wildcat. Then, of course, that Elix Skipper spot. Do you know the Elix Skipper spot, right?
I do not.
Elix Skipper tightrope walking the top of the goddamn fence to hit a Hurricane Rana Harris, who's sitting on the top of the cage himself. And this wasn't like this that piece of steel, like that little, like the box structure that WWE cages drop by. It was just the top rail of a chain link fence.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah.
Right,
and this was not a short cage. This is like an 18 feet in the air in the impact zone. Incredible storytelling and incredible brutality combined to produce one of the best blow-off matches in recent history. And I have a link, so that match will, of course, be on the blog page when this goes live there. So you'll be able to watch that ridiculous spot.
My number 3, which I think you mentioned just a minute ago. The Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys. A memorable moment of Jeff Hardy going for the Swanton Bomb instead of escaping the cage made the Dudley Boys win over the Hardy Boys, a great cage match at the end of the Invasion angle.
It's hard to say that anything, hard to put the word great and Invasion angle in the same sentence to anything, but this was actually something
that worked. So that's like the Dudley Boys. Back in the day, we had some, you had some great tag teams. You had the Dudley Boys. You had Edge and Christian. You had the Hardy Boys. they were all, like I said before, for the Hardys and Edge and Christian, that they're just workhorses. I mean, shoot, the Dudleys, Bubba Ray, being knocked out in a ladder match, and you can see Matt talking to him, trying to get him back, and him thinking that his mom was there, who had just passed away.
Was that the triangle match at SummerSlam?
Yeah.
When they went off the ladder into the 4 tables?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I'll have to find it. But that, I know, I remember, but they're just workhorses, and they're all 3 of my favorite teams from, that era of WWE. So that's my number 3.
They kind of led the tag team renaissance at the time.
Oh, yeah, they did. So, Dan, who's your number 2?
Moving to number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Possibly. Number two.
Possibly could be here. You might have this one. It'll be interesting to see. Let's go back to a hot August night, August 29th of 1994, inside the brand new United Center in Chicago, Illinois. I remember this. It's weird. I was watching this. To SummerSlam, when Bret the Hitman Hart defended the WWE Championship in the old school blue bar steel cage against his own flesh and blood, Owen Hart.
Rest in peace.
This wasn't a bloody battle. That was still banned in the Fed at the time. But it was still one of the most intense and emotional cage matches that you will ever see. I'd go so far to say that this match was better than their battle at WrestleMania 10, which many people say is one of the top 3 matches of all time in the history of that event. Escape attempts all over, a superplex from the top of the cage, and a finish that I don't believe has been done before or since. Besides, it's also Owen in a main event spot. It's going to be good.
And that was at what pay-per-view?
SummerSlam 94.
Okay.
And well, it was sort of the main event. The last match on the card was actually the Undertaker versus the Undertaker.
That's right. To number 2?
Your number 2.
My number 2 is not that. But we go to there are a lot of these are SummerSlam. SummerSlam in 1990. With the Ultimate Warrior.
If you're gonna, I'm sorry. If we're gonna do it, you got to say it right.
What?
If you're gonna introduce it, you've got to say Ultimate Warrior correctly.
Ultimate Warrior.
The Ultimate Warrior.
I ain't doing that shit. The Ultimate Warrior versus Rick Rude. That was a great match. Classic. You go into depth. I don't really have much into depth on it, but it was one of my favorite cage matches. I went through and watched a few this past week. A good handful of them. And I really, really, really liked that one. 2 great guys.
I hate to cast aspersions on the dead, but it's also a tribute to the talent of one Rick Rude, who was able to pull that great of a match out of that.
The Warrior.
Of an inexperienced worker even at that time, like Warrior.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I got a couple. I kept myself. I kept myself, but there's some other ones. Ric Flair and Harley Race for the NWA World Heavyweight Title at Starrcade 1983.
Gotcha.
A lot of people would find that match boring as hell, and at times of watching it, I would also. But watching it rewatching it a couple times, you can respect the art going into that. We talked about an event like this a little bit ago, but Triple H and Ric Flair at Taboo Tuesday 2005 during Flair's surprising Intercontinental title run. August 28th, 2009, when CM Punk and Jeff Hardy put their WWE careers on the line inside a cage. Breakdown of 1998, when the Rock, Ken Shamrock, and Mankind did battle for a WWF title shot in the cage. And finally, and it's not the greatest, it by no means is it the greatest cage match, but it's one of the most entertaining cage matches. The Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Mr. McMahon.
I thought about that one.
do battle for his spot at WrestleMania at St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1999. And, of course, the debut of Paul White. Now, do you remember when Show came in, he was not the Big Show right off the bat. That night, he was just Paul White, because that's what you couldn't call him the Giant, and everyone knew they could say you call it Paul White. But Raw, the next night, do you know what his nickname started to become?
What's that?
He was Big Nasty Paul White.
Big Nasty.
And that thankfully evolved.
Didn't McDonald's have a sandwich called that?
I didn't. Yeah, because didn't Jason Alexander do the commercials for it?
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Oh man. All right, Dan, who's your number one?
Number one match. I would be surprised if our number ones are the same. Honestly,
I would too.
Number one. Let's go back to Thanksgiving night, 1985.
Ooh.
When the NWA United States Heavyweight Championship was on the line, Tully Blanchard defending against Magnum TA in a steel cage I Quit match. The iconic finish to this orgy of violence sets this match apart from all of its compatriots. The most annoying member of the Four Horsemen finally getting his comeuppance inside the confines of an actually honestly low steel cage. It was only like 8 feet tall. Would never work in today's visual mindset. Magnum TA at that point was the babyface of all babyfaces in the NWA. He would do no wrong in 1985, but took his quest for revenge to a very dark place. Blood was spilled. Faces met steel, and it was only when TA had a wooden spike inches from Blanchard's eye did the champion surrender, and the onslaught finally stopped. The drama, the violence, the ultimate story of revenge and redemption make this match the greatest cage match in wrestling history.
I have not seen it, but I will.
I assume.
So mine is not my number one.
Do you have any honorable mentions before you get to your number?
I do not. Okay. I thought about adding the Austin McMahon one because of, like you just said, the comical aspect of it. My number one was at SummerSlam.
Okay.
Shocker. It's between two brothers. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart. Where Bret would retain his WWE Championship versus Owen Hart. Which my number one was your number two.
I mean, yeah, honestly, I almost feel like those are 1A and 1B. They could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But man, there was just something about that, about about Tully and Magnum, puts it over the top for me.
So that's our top five. What is your top five cage matches? Let us know. Leave them here in the comments. Email us, thefinisherpodcast@gmail.com, and let us know what yours is. Dan is shaking up the cup. He's got some maracas. I guess I should get some maraca music for him.
It's okay. I've got what shake, 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 senor in my head. So go for it. It's all good.
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and pull one out.
Just like the drinks I'll be making later on tonight. Don't need this one. What I do need is this one, which tells me that next week we will be presenting. I like it because we're getting bests. A lot of the worsts are out of the way.
Good.
Next week we will talk about the top five best stipulation matches. And I guess on the heels of two of the last four we've done, let's take the cage and the Hell in the Cell out of that pool.
No cage.
No cage, no Hell in the Cell. We've already done those. Done those better.
Okay. Sticky note on my monitor. Good to go.
Yeah, I'm writing it down too because knowing my luck, I'll put Hell in the Cell number 2, and you're like, you said you did, and I'm like, oh,
you bastard.
Right, I did. You broke your own rules, Dan.
So have yours ready. Let us know what your top five stipulation matches are. Like we said, no cages, no Hell in the Cells. Let us know what yours is, and on this post, let us know what your top 5 cage matches were that we did this week. Make sure you check us out. Facebook.com/TheFinisherPodcast. If you're here with us, you're watching it, you're seeing that right there live, which will be up on YouTube in about an hour or so after this ends. If you want to find out where all of our... Go ahead.
I say, and on all your better podcast outlets as well at about the same time.
Yep, iHeartRadio, one of the bigger ones. Any of your podcasts, Spotify, all that. TheFinisherPodcast.com has links to all of those. Just click on where to find us, and you'll see that right there. And it'll have links to our Facebook as well, and YouTube and all that stuff. So make sure you hang out with us. Go ahead.
I assumed you were going to finish, so I was going to continue on and say, do not forget to join us Tuesday night. That would be the August 4th, Tuesday, August 4th, starting at 7 o'clock. We will be live reacting to the worst pay-per-view in the history of wrestling history of all time, of ever, Heroes of Wrestling. Keep an eye on our Facebook page for information between Sunday and Monday on how to where to go to see this and to be able to follow along the utter mental carnage that we will be enduring. And
one thing we're also going to be doing is we're going to actually have a full schedule almost.
Well, yeah, we'll have to put that out. We'll make that available on the Facebook page, on the Twitters, on the website at some point.
Yes, once we hammer it down. So make sure you watch out for that.
If one video a week isn't enough, we're going to overload you with finishing content. That could have been code, now that I think about that. Let's move on.
We hope to see you guys here next week. We actually hope to see you here on Tuesday.
We want to see you Tuesday night.
Tuesday for the Finisher Flashback. Until then, you guys have a wonderful day. And we'll see you later.
Go Jackets!
Sure. Okay.
I'm not dancing for you.